Hey everybody, welcome back. This week's video is Lies of P. A little while ago, like a lot of people, I ended up playing the demo. Now, I didn't finish the whole demo on stream, so I figure rather than showing you all of the gameplay from this, I would just talk about the game, what I liked about the demo, what I didn't like about the demo, what I'm hoping happens when the final release comes. I think is it September? Literally just checked, it should be the 19th of September this year. So I don't have a script for this video, so it might get a little bit rambly. Apologies for that.
We need your help.
I suppose first off, one of the first things that you get to do is choose your weapon class. There's Path of the Cricket, which is more balanced for speed and strength, I believe. You've got Path of the Bastard, which is dexterity, so more speed, more hits, and less damage. And then Path of the Sweeper, which is strength. And that's probably going to be what I would want to play when I play the game. For the purposes of the demo, chat convinced me to go dexterity. So Path of the Bastard, and it went okay. The enemy types seem quite varied, I'd say. There is the policemen that are in the station, or I think they're policemen, I may not be calling them the right thing, but there's a few of them. We see different sort of weapons that they have, and sort of like the next stage, which is like the bigger watchmen and things like that. And then when you go into the crat, you see more variations of these enemies with slightly different attacks. And then of course you've got the dogs, and everybody knows that Fromsoft dogs are horrific to fight, and I kind of feel like these dogs aren't going to be great either to fight. They are quite annoying. If you can hit them first, then totally fine, they were no problem, but if you got them to corner you or anything like that, then that was where I had a couple of issues. I'm definitely not the best Soulsborne player in the world. I am an absolute filthy casual, but I love these types of games, so it's always good to see other IPs coming up with a little spin on the usual formula. So I kind of feel like fighting initial enemies was good. It felt smooth, it felt responsive. I guess with sort of low, I don't know what the word is, sort of low tier enemies, if you like, then doing things like dodging isn't quite as important. When you start to fight bigger enemies or stronger enemies, you're going to use that a lot more. And when it came to the sort of the first mini boss, the bigger policeman, then it became a little bit more apparent that dodging was a bit more required, and that's where the combat falls down a little bit. It feels like it's trying to be a Souls-like, but the combat just doesn't feel as smooth as what you would get in Bloodborne when you do the quick step. I'd say it's almost more akin to Sekiro, where, you know, you can dodge, but it's not a very far distance. It's not the main thing to stop getting hurt, basically. Since I played the demo, I have found out that you can change the parts in the sword to make it lighter, which I think increases the distance that you can dodge. But we've also had an update from the developers to say that they are listening to feedback, because this isn't just my feedback. There's been a lot of negative feedback regarding the sort of combat mechanics that are in the game, and they've already explained that they want to make changes to make it more responsive and everything like that. I'll try and link the video down below, where the director did explain what they were looking to change for September. And I think if they make those changes, it will be a really, really good contender for sort of the Souls-like title, if you like, potentially Game of the Year. There's been a lot of good games this year, though, let's be honest. I'm really interested to see what kind of changes they make to that. The combat system's slightly strange as well, because it's like there's enemies have got like 2 health bars, so they can regain a little bit of health if you don't keep attacking, which is again something I didn't notice until a little bit later on in my fights. But I'd like to see how that plays out with tougher enemies and everything like that. The first boss of the demo was incredibly tough for me. I think it took me about 20 attempts to get through it. And I know a lot of people probably wouldn't have taken nearly that long, or some people would have taken more than that to get through it. But I just feel like it was really difficult to judge how to get out of the way of his attacks and everything like that. But it was a fun fight. I did play the rest of the demo on my own off stream, so I don't have any footage of that. But the second boss is like a donkey, and that was my favourite boss from the demo. It was the type of fight that I liked, and that it was more my size to fight with, and you could do the backstabs and everything like that. So I really liked that. And then the last boss, I may not have actually defeated, even using the summoning pool, because this game does have summoning pools, which is quite cool because they don't appear before the fight, they just appear once you step through the kind of fog door, and it's a nice touch. The sharpening the blades was something that I didn't actually realise what it was at first. I probably missed a pop-up a lot of the time. I'm not really paying attention, to be honest. But when I realised that if you didn't sharpen it enough, then you could lose your weapon, that gives me a little bit of the fear. Just in case it happens in, like, say, the middle of a boss fight, for example. Nobody wants that. And it makes me feel a little bit like in... I think it was Dark Souls 2, you're fighting a dragon, and like I had to use like 3 weapons because my weapons of choice were like needed to be repaired quite often. Their durability was not great, so I had to take 3 weapons into the fight just to make sure like I made it through, because I didn't have time to repair powder it or whatever. That's just how I managed to do that fight. And that's kind of how it makes me feel like I want to have backup weapons with me at all times. Because I'm definitely not the type of person that can be in the menu screen when there's lots going on. I will die. There is obviously a garden mechanic that you can use in your fights. I'm going to be honest, I never use that. I very rarely use the arm also, which is no surprise if you've seen me play any of the Souls games. I don't tend to use my left bumpers all that much. Maybe I'll be forced to when playing this, and that's fine. I will quite happily adapt to trying a new playstyle. That is not an issue, and it's not a criticism either. There's also the use of Fable Arts, which I'm kinda understanding is to be sort of charged attacks or stronger attacks than usual. I couldn't really understand how to use the handle ones, and the blade ones were useful sometimes, not all the time, because I didn't know too much about how I was implementing them or the best times to implement them for the enemies that we were fighting. But I'm interested to see what other Fable Arts there are from the ones that I tried out in the demo. After you beat the first boss and go into Hotel Krat, you find out that there's different parts for your arm, which not a mechanic I've explored a lot of, but I like to see how that would evolve as well, and whether it's something that I'd want to use as a way of fighting, or whether it's just going to be something that's there that I don't really interact with too much. The level design that we've seen so far is quite Souls-esque. There's shortcuts, there's little offshoots, but it seems fairly linear, which, you know, it's a demo. I don't know how open world the game is going to be. I've actually tried to stay away from too much information so that I don't get completely spoiled for my experience with the game. But just sort of opening up the game and coming into the station was really, really cool. And then later on we get to see the sort of first hub almost at the hotel, where we seem to meet lots of characters that we don't know all that much about yet, but it looks like as the game progresses we'll see more and more of and find out their stories a bit more. There's also sort of notes and things around the world to know what's either giving us hints to what bosses are coming up or where we can go next, which is very Souls-like. Do have a small criticism here though. When I was reading things that weren't, you know, individual pop-ups that were just coming up to the side of the screen and things like that, they seem to disappear really quickly, and I'd have to click on them twice to actually read the full thing. The little message in front of the fountain when you first walk into the station was the big one for that, where I had to view it a couple of times to read it out. Now, if I'm on my own, that's fine. Streaming's a little bit different because I've got my attention divided, but yeah, it seemed to just be there and then was gone a second later. One thing I did notice, which we found quite funny when we were playing it, is that Pinocchio's shirt goes from being covered in oil, I'm guessing, to being absolutely freshly laundered in the matter of like a second or so, which I think is quite a funny touch. Clearly got the bang and the dirt is gone going on, but the way the character looks and moves and everything looks really good. Like even down to the fact that the shirt's a little bit wrinkled and it moves with them. Like, I really like that. I know people are saying that he looks like Timothy Chalamet. I don't actually know who this person is. I just know that he's an actor and allegedly looks like P. It looks stunning though. The character looks stunning. The animations look really good. I'm excited to see about, you know, the other characters that we'll meet along the way. It wouldn't be a Souls-like without something that resets all the enemies, and the Stargazer is the thing that does that. It's also the place where you can level up your character using Ergo, which is the game's equivalent of Souls. When I started the demo, I decided to try and do a PL1, so puppet level 1, of the demo. That didn't go so well. We got to the first boss and I quickly decided that that was not going to be for me. One thing that I really liked about the world was that there seems to be a bit of verticality, so you can run across the rooftops to find items and fight enemies, to create shortcuts and everything, and that was something that I quite liked enjoying, seeing things from a different angle. And I'd be interested to see what the expanded city looks like going forward with that, whether all sections of the game kind of have that, or whether it's only the early stages of the game where that's something that you can do. But all in all, I really enjoyed Liza P. I think there's a lot they can improve on, and I really hope they do before September. But there's also things that I really enjoyed and was a nice little touch. There's nods to the author of Pinocchio and things that are in Pinocchio, which is really nice to see. And a lot of people, even if they've not, spent a lot of time looking at that kind of media, they know from other things what there is, if you know what I mean. So, for example, the donkeys, like with the animated film. So yeah, it's a nice little nod to the original sort of source work, and I like that. One thing I really liked actually, with the boss fight, is that not the fight itself, as we've already established. It wasn't my favourite, that first boss fight, but if you die, you collect your ergo before the boss door, which means that you're less likely to lose ergo, and means that you can maybe level up a little bit easier. I feel like that's quite welcoming for people that are maybe new to these types of games, and might actually encourage new players to come pick it up if they maybe like the world and things like that. So I'm not going to ramble on too much more, because it genuinely has just been a ramble. I know there's going to be lots of things that I've missed talking about in the video. I've never done one of these before. I think I said at the beginning, I have no script. I am just winging this like I do absolutely everything. So my thoughts probably aren't even all that coherent, and I apologise for that. Is it going to happen again? Maybe. But that's if you maybe like this style of video, so let me know in the comments below. Give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, tell me what you want to see me play. Any suggestions for Souls-like, Souls-lights, indie horror games, not necessarily indie horror games, just normal horror games, cozy games. I will play anything pretty much. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!